My name's Patrick McHenry, and I'm here today with Josh Marable from Tetrametrix, and we're going to talk a little bit about the new combine and some of the different things that Tetrametrix is doing. Josh, welcome.
Thanks, Patrick. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Thank you.
Let's go ahead and jump into this real quick. Can you tell us a little bit, tell the ESU viewers, what is Tetrametrix, what do they do, and just a little bit about you?
Sure. A little bit about Tetrametrix. We're basically, if you can imagine, an account management system or software that merges athletes, coaches, recruiters, and trainers with sports technology, from timing systems to wearables to video analysis tools, kind of puts it all together, and then teaches basically individuals like personal trainers how to use these tools to make money and to earn a living from.
Nice. Now, one of the things that you had talked about is the equipment, but you also are working with a combine certification. Can you just tell us a little bit about the combine certification that Tetrametrix has developed and how it's going to be used, who can use it, those kind of things?
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we're really excited about. So when we hooked up with you at ESU, we kind of created this standard athletic combine certification course. And, this is the first combine course or certification in a line of many certs that we plan to do with ESU. So, we're very excited about this. The first certification is more basic in its understanding. It really breaks down a combine and teaches people the right way to set up the equipment, the right way to run athletes through the tests, and the right way to actually access and manage the data. So the importance of that is that we will have a consistent training method and testing method no matter where this is done, throughout the country or throughout the world. And then the athletes that are in the system and the coaches can be reassured that their information is done correctly, and especially when they're trying to compare themselves across the board.
So when you talk about making it standardized, then you're talking about using different types of electronics and different types of equipment. Can you talk just a little bit about some of the equipment companies that you're working with?
Yeah, of course. So right off the bat, let's talk about Swift Performance. They're a company. Yeah, they're a company out of Australia.
Okay.
They primarily do timing systems, but they also have a jump mat, which is pretty phenomenal in itself. They have this ability for the coaches to actually create their own tests with their software. So that's pretty slick. So if you can imagine you're a coach out there and you like all the standard tests, and you can actually create that with the system, but you also have some tests that are more specific to how you train and how you teach. Well, now all of a sudden you can design that in their software system and then standardize that approach. And then through the Tetrametrix, we can actually take that and then show that to the world so others can actually learn and then teach your training methodology.
Nice.
So pretty phenomenal. They also have reactive agility equipment, which is really cool. And that's actually my favorite portion of the combine because it really assesses player-specific and game-specific situations. So we've got Swift Performance. We're also working with Vert.
Okay.
They've come out with this new equipment called the G-Vert. And, that's, if you've ever played with one, I think you have.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? I mean, it gives you like 8 different variables, 8 different measurements on your athletic movement. It measures, the force and the shock endured on the body when you're going through different activities or exercises. I mean, there's simple things like your vertical, your vert count, your meaning like your jump rate and stuff, your balance, stability. But I'm more interested in using it in a combine setting as far as, again, like getting back into what is the player going to do in a game situation, and then how do we actually put metrics and meaningful data to that, and then how do you actually take that data, learn from it, and then create the training, have products tied to that, all the above. So we're very excited to be working with Vert, with the new G-Vert. We also have a partner called the Right Profile, and they do mental testing. And so it's like really looking at the athlete type basically taking them through this whole test, this cognitive test. And, once the athlete goes through that, it takes about 25 minutes or so. And that's actually free for every athlete who kind of comes to the combine or comes into our system. They get this readout, and then it will say, okay, athlete, you're more of a maverick, or you're more of this type, this mental type. And here's the best way for you to be coached. Here's your strengths. And I wouldn't call them weaknesses, but we could say, here's some things you may need to work on to improve yourself. Right. And so it's all positive with that system. And then they have what's called the mental gym. So once the athlete gets their scores, they can enter into the mental gym, and they're given all these exercises to work the mind, right? Mental gym. So, that's really cool because that fills out a totally different piece of this puzzle, from the performance, the physical, now we have the mental. And then the last piece really is the video component, which we're adding in there. So we've been discussing this with a few different partners. We're about to, I can't make it really public, but we're sort of working with different partners that have different types of perks, I guess, to their system.
Okay.
I mean, one is Dartfish, of course, right?
Yes.
And what they provide is totally outstanding. And so we're thinking, with them, what's actually really good is the way that coaches in our system can assess videos of athletes. And so, we have this whole little function. If you're a coach, you're logged into our system. An athlete runs through their event, all this stuff. They upload all their videos and photos. They can find you on our system and say, hey, coach, can you review my videos? And so the coach is like, yeah, of course. I'm just hanging out today. Got nothing to do, right? I can make some extra cash, right?
There you go. Yeah.
It's all exchanged within the system. Athlete can submit the video. Coach can use Dartfish to analyze it, give them some really positive feedback, then send it back. And so, that's the biggest thing is these athletes go to events and to combines, they do training and testing, but they're always left with, well, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. And so our system really promotes education. And that's why we're so excited to work with ESU, because that's like your number one thing, right, is education.
Yep.
So you guys kind of fit perfectly into the structure, Now,
when you talk about combines, is there specific sports that you're going to be working with, or is it just general?
Well, it's sort of both. So that's a poor answer there, but, it's really like we have a standard approach, basically like our videos, standard athletic combine, where we're measuring speed, power, and agility, which just works for all sports. It's just athleticism, right?
Yes.
And that you can take to any sport just to get that power to weight ratio, which everyone's really looking for, right? Mm-hmm. But then again, we do have very specific combines and events that are geared towards the sports. And that for me is when stuff really gets fun. For instance, we have a volleyball combine coming up in July, and we'll be launching this whole series around the Denver metro area in the Midwest for this fall and actually the late summer. But with that, what we can do is we have our standard combine. We can add in a reactive agility test that's more specific to volleyball. Like what would a libero do in this situation?
Okay, good. Yep.
And how do we time it, right? Mm-hmm. And then what we also have is we have like 3 courts set aside for video analysis drills. So you can take like the front court, you can take the liberos and the back court, and they can each do their own tests specific to their position.
Okay.
Yep. So that gives like video feedback that goes directly into their Tetrametrix account. And they can kind of, share that socially. They can get help from coaches, that sort of thing. Then after all that stuff is done, we have a tournament, like a linear tournament, basically. So 3-on-3 tournament. And we're going to be charting the wins and losses of each player with the Tetrametrix system. And so that'll actually rank the players, exactly in wins and losses. So that's another thing we bring to the table. So you'll have your best combine scores, power to weight ratio, your best times, but you also have, okay, well, who actually is the best on the court in real game situations? So it's pretty cool stuff. And then again, we'll be doing that for lacrosse as well. adding in certain elements that are specific to the sport. So there's just much more meaningful data and takeaways from the event.
Now, what about schools? Is there a way that they can use combines to help generate revenue for the school?
Yes, and that's kind of like one of our, I was going to say secret weapons, but it's more like, it's more like a passion of ours, because that's where the kids are. They're at school. And that's where you can have a real impact with coaching and with mentoring. It's through the schools, you know? Mm-hmm. And we just see a lot of athletes and children primarily fall through the cracks at like ages 13 and 15 between that scope. And so our whole pitch is basically taking our equipment, and if you can imagine like picture day for schools,
yep,
everybody goes to picture day, right? They set up the camera in the same place. It's usually the same ugly background.
Yes.
Right? But it's done the same exact way for every single school, right? That's picture day. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, well, what if we take an athletic picture of your child or the athlete? We set up the equipment in the same way. We have a cool background, not an ugly background, right?
Yes.
And the athletes get that athletic snapshot of where they are at that time in their career, whether it's elementary, middle school, or high school. And then they can follow themselves. They can grow with that. But better yet, they can get those tools on how to improve. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're looking at from that standpoint. There's also, doing combines for specific teams and for, say, the full fall sports.
Okay. And
that way, it can be done as a fundraiser. So schools can actually earn money setting on these events and getting all of that data for their program. So booster clubs, they love this idea because it's way easier to get a parent to pay for that than to buy a mattress or to, whatever they do. I don't know what they do, right?
There's all kinds of fundraisers. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So we can wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to share about Tetrametrix, some of the plans in the future, or some of the other things that you're going to be doing?
I guess as far as that is concerned, there's so much to talk about, but keeping it really streamlined. I think we're just really excited to kick this relationship off with ESU. And there's a whole row of certifications that we're going to be bringing out into the industry.
Okay.
And the partner technology we're bringing in, they're all very interested and excited about this relationship that ESU has. So, one little thing I can slip in is that we're working with Elite Sports University to create these prescriptive-based videos. And so they will be automatically triggered when the athletes, run through the testing, they get their results. And then these videos will be coming from ESU's staff saying, okay, athlete, here's where you tested based upon the mean. Mm-hmm. Here's how you specifically need to improve.
Nice.
And the video will come there. It could be about 3 to 5 minutes, but it'll give them exactly what they need, where they are, how to get better. As the athlete gets better within the system, new videos are released based on where they are. So it really meets them where they are at, instead of just telling kids like, hey, everyone's going to do this, right?
Yep.
It doesn't work for everybody. And so now you can make it very specific. I usually say like, some kids just can't go left,
Yep.
So, yeah. So why are you going to sell them, something that makes them go right? I don't know. But it's a poor example. Anyhow, I'm not a strength and conditioning coach, as you can see.
So it's more of a personalized approach. So it's not just a generic, everybody gets the same message. This one's going to be very personalized to help the athletes develop their skills and build on their strengths and improve things that they need to improve on.
Right. And there's a huge opportunity for products to be put in there as well. And I kind of see this whole circle happening where the ESU video gets released to the athlete specifically. There's a product that they can purchase. If they buy that product, well, there's ESU videos on how to use that product.
Good.
Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit of what we're heading into. And there's just a lot more to come. More technology partners are right at the door. We're trying to push a few people back just to keep it really simple. But we'll be launching some lacrosse events, some volleyball events, baseball. We've got some tennis things in the works right now. And definitely the school agenda is going to be very exciting. There's some big interest in Japan right now for the school curriculum.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah, exactly. So we're very excited to get this up and running and just go from there. So thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you. And we'll have your website so that people can see where to go and get the information about Tetrametrix. Appreciate your time. That's Josh with Tetrametrix, Patrick from ESU. Have a good day. Thank you.